戦争は変わった。一つの時代が終わり、俺たちの戦争は終わった。
War has changed. It's no longer about nations, ideologies, or ethnicity. It's an endless series of proxy battles fought by mercenaries and machines. War and its consumption of life has become a well-oiled machine. War has changed. Verified soldiers carry algorithmic arms, manipulate social influence, AI enhance and regulate their timelines. Memetic control, information control, emotion control, battlefield control. Everything is monitored and kept under control. War has changed. The age of deterrence has become the age of control, all in the name of averting catastrophe from weapons of mass destruction. And he who controls the battlefield controls history. War has changed. And when the battlefield is under total control, war becomes routine.
Think outside the cage.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Crime News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Crime News Talk. Today is January 7th, 2026. We are live to tape on episode 905. And today, is there a Trump turnaround? Signing on from Wrap the Grid, Razzle Basil. I'm your best buddy Basil, and you are not crazy.
And my name is Gonz, at Face Like the Sun, director of the Age of Deceit films and author of Archetypalism, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape from the metaverse to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. It's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
And Merry Christmas to everybody celebrating Orthodox Christmas. It is today.
So it's today? Oh, I thought it was yesterday.
It says on the Canary Cry calendar that it's today. So I'm going to go with the Canary Cry calendar. Yeah,
Canary
it's
Cry calendar.
Much more authoritative. That's not the only thing, though, for today, Basil.
Mhm.
We have a birthday to celebrate today as well, according to the calendar.
Okie dokie.
And yeah. The first child born in Antarctica
Ah, yes.
turns, what is it, 47? 48? 48.
She's
48.
a living person. She was born, it says here, in 1978.
Yes.
Okay, March 16th. Wait, what am I looking at here? Oh, that's the
I don't know what
article.
you're looking at.
Okay, what
That's
did
the
you
article.
think
Yeah,
about it?
no. Yeah, Emilio Marcos Palma made history in the Guinness Book of World Records in 1978 by being the first born in Antarctica. So there you go. Congratulations.
Has his superpowers expressed yet? Has he come of age? Does he have sort of alien telepathy or something like that? Are we tracking this guy? Does this guy does he have a podcast? He's got to have a podcast.
Well, yeah, I think he's got to have a podcast at some point. And maybe they got to get the brain computer interface installed and then we'll see. Yeah, everybody will get to see,
What's his name again? I'm going to ask Brock if he has a podcast or just what is he up to? What's
Emilio Marcos Palma, which interestingly, his acronym is EMP.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So he is a weapon. He's
the weapon. Yes. And based on, biblical lifespans, for 48, just a baby. Got to get to at least 140 before or 120, I guess.
So let's see here. I asked Grok, I said, what is Emilio Marcus Palma up to? No further explanation. Grok says Emilio Marco Palma is the Argentine man famous for being the first documented human born on the continent of Antarctica. Okay, so Grok knew who I was talking about. As of late 2025 and still current in 2026, he's 47 years old, turning 48 today, January
Boom.
7th. Happy birthday, Emilio. Somebody got to get in we got to get in contact with this guy. From the most recent available information, he maintains a very private life. Good job, Emilio. And has largely stayed out of the public eye. He resides in Argentina. Okay. Professionally, he works as a systems analyst. Analista. Rock gives us the local language, analista de sistemas, a career in IT computer science. Okay. He's laying low. He's waiting for his call from the Antarctican intergalactic dark squad, ready to activate him.
Here's to happy birthday. Here's to EMP.
It's cold, Basil. It's cold. Antarctica, go first. Snowstorm. Antarctica. Scientists are penguins. Antarctica, they're opening the abyss.
Just real quick, Basil. I mentioned how it's Orthodox Christmas, and I just thought it was funny that Al Jazeera had this photo article that says photo Orthodox Christmas celebrations around the world. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. This image does not reflect a joyful Christmas.
Well, Orthodox Christmas is a very interesting thing. Again, in my now sort of side quest to try to learn more about Orthodox Christianity, they are just totally on their own sort of calendar, I guess.
Their own track,
On one hand, as an American sort of, what is the word?
Protestant?
Protestant, thank you.
Yeah.
I was going to say Pentecostal, but Protestant. It's already weird to try to follow along with like the Catholic calendar, but the Orthodox calendar is like they're doing their own thing. You got to give them credit for sort of originality. Just so we're clear here, I asked Grok if Emilio Marcos Palmo had a X account because I was gonna, tag him, say happy birthday. According to Grok, there's no verifiable X account for that fella. So
come on, Emilio, you gotta show up, man. You gotta show up every day at the very least to make your presence known. The memo hasn't gotten to him yet, maybe.
Well, to celebrate Orthodox Christmas, Big Daddy Trump, he worked really hard over the night. He was, he's putting on his Santa hat, and there's some big news waking up today regarding the ocean, Gons.
The oceans and
ocean.
This is World War III adjacent.
Yeah.
Did Jonathan F. give us a jingle for the maritime stuff? I feel like he did.
He almost certainly did. Take a look for it while I give some roundup here. So we're back to the ocean, folks. It's all about the ocean. I want to start out by bringing up a tweet from RT. This was on January 1st. Okay, so a little bit of background. January 1st, RT tweeted, Russia, quote, made a formal diplomatic request to the U.S. to stop pursuit of an oil tanker fleeing the Coast Guard. New York Times citing anonymous sources. Tanker believed to be Bella 1, seen in the video, sailing from Iran to Venezuela. So, look, we've got a lot of complicated geopolitical things going on now, and it's easy to get lost in sort of the big picture, but you go down to sort of the day-to-day, seems like Russia asked very politely for the U.S. Coast Guard to stop chasing around one of their tankers, which I guess is a good. I mean, look, they're opening up communication. That's good. That's good. Well, 6 days later, Secretary Kristy Noem posted with an awesome sort of military thermal vision video, which you can play in the background if you like. In 2 pre-dawn operations today, the Coast Guard conducted back-to-back meticulously coordinated boarding of 2 Ghost Fleet tanker ships, one in the North Atlantic Sea and one in international waters near the Caribbean. Both vessels, the motor tanker Bella 1, It's the one.
No,
Russia
there it is.
asked
It's the one.
very politely to stop chasing the Bella 1. And the motor tanker Sofia were either last docked in Venezuela or en route to it. Well, from what we know from the original request, the Bella 1 was going from Iran to Venezuela, sort of, whatever, maybe to pick up some oil or maybe something else. We don't know. Under President Trump's bold and visionary leadership, U.S. Coast Guard tactical teams worked closely with its counterparts at the Departments of War, Department of Justice, and State, and used their specialized expertise to conduct these operations and conduct 2 safe, effective boardings within hours of each other. It's fun. You can see here in the thermal vision, you get the 2026 live stream operation of the helicopter swooping down, dudes going down the rope. In this video, it even includes like watching the squadron move through the decks and up the stairs. It's very fun to watch.
Makes it very ghostly with this thermal vision or like
Very
negative
ghostly.
vision or
Very
something.
black
Yeah.
ops, very black
Mhm.
ops, very cool.
Oh,
One of
there they
these
go.
tankers, motor tanker Bella 1, has been trying to evade the Coast Guard for weeks, even changing its flag and painting a new name on the hull while being pursued. Now look, okay, I'm not
I
an
love the old
ocean-
tactics, man. That's just age-old tactics,
I am
Just-
not an ocean professional, okay? But I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to fly a different flag. And what I love about this, and this will come up again, is in the world of history, right? We consider ourselves in a totally different era than the time of, 1776 and things like this. And of course, boats, naval stuff has been around for a long time. Flags, very important part. I mean, the fact we even have flags at all is mostly in this era because of naval stuff, because of ships and things like this. So
Mhm.
I would guess, again, not an ocean lawyer, that changing your flag mid-trip is something of a no-no, as long as everybody's so concerned with international law. But let's keep going. Even changing its flag and painting a new name on the look, maybe they just didn't like the name Bella 1, right? Maybe Bella 2, maybe Bella 3. I don't know. On the whole, while being
I like that
pursued.
if they capture him, like, no, you're looking for Bella
No,
1. This is Bella 2, guys. Come
Bella
on.
2. This is our sister ship. This one totally legit. Don't chase us. In a desperate and failed attempt to escape justice, the heroic crew of the US CGC Monroe pursued this vessel across the high seas. Even the dramatic, naval language here is great. And through treacherous storms, keeping diligent watch and protecting our country with the determination and patriotism that makes Americans proud. These brave men and women deserve our nation's thanks for their selfless devotion to duty. The world's criminals are on notice. You can run, but you can't hide. We'll never relent in our mission to protect American people and disrupt the funding of the narco-terrorism wherever we find it, period. This is our country's greatest fighting force at their best. This is America first at sea. Now,
This is
America
America.
first at sea, Gons. People, listeners who've been listening for at least maybe a year or two will remember the period of time where I was completely obsessed with sort of the broad historical picture of the United States and the oceans. And this is kind of lost to a lot of people, but it feels like in this meta transformation that Trump is kind of inflicting on the world, and this sort of throwback to not like what made America great in the 50s, but like what made America great in 1801. Our ability to patrol the whole world, to control the shipping lanes, to control anybody's, ships anywhere. This is really what America, if it weren't for the naval obsession of the founding fathers and the early country, America would not be what it is. In fact, pretty much all, I mean, now it's a little different with globalized economics, things like that, petrodollar, that's all included now. But if it weren't for the foundation of like absolute naval dominance for hundreds of years, it would be a totally different story. America loves ships. It's all about the ships, baby. And just to remind everybody, what we dove into a while back was the Barbary Wars. This was in about 1800, 1801, just like 20 years after the country was founded. There were pirates over, I think it was kind of in the like Eastern Mediterranean area. And the pirates, which were government-sponsored pirates, right? In fact, this is kind of fun because there's been a lot of talk.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's been a lot of talk recently with everything going on. Trump and the Trump administration has sort of hinted at bringing back what are called letters of marque. Now, letters of marque is an old school sort of tradition that basically legalized piracy on the on behalf of a country. And they've been talking about bringing this back. So look, any aspiring pirates out there, it may legitimately become a valid career path to get yourself a ship.
That's funny because they're already doing it. They're already doing it. It's just that they'll have papers to not get arrested.
Private.
It's private. Okay.
Private. This is not the military. Okay. This is not the military gets to go be pirates. This is privateers was the old name for it. And it's just anybody with a boat can receive a letter of marque and then legally start pirating like other ships from other countries.
Okay. And so yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that okay? All right.
So it's fun, this
great move. Yeah. No, this
is
is
future.
We're gonna have like Mandalorian hanging out in our seas.
And of course, what happened in the first Barbary Wars was these pirates over in the Mediterranean were sponsored by a local government, and they were messing up all the shipping lanes and taking out American ships. And the Wikipedia for the Barbary Wars is really funny because it describes it as what was the name? I think I closed.
I got it here. The Barbary is it in the beginning of the thing?
Yeah, I'll read it right here. Okay. So Tripolitans.
Is that Sam
Tripoli?
Tripoli?
The kingdom. It was like this North African, sort of Moroccan style kingdom. And I'll just call him Tripoli. I don't know if that's true, but the Tripoli government was pirating American ships, Swedish ships, French ships, everybody's ships, unless they pay tribute. So it was basically extortion. It was, it was piracy.
Sounds like the mark of the beast. Show your allegiance, worship us. Otherwise, you can't buy or sell in these areas.
Sure, whatever. It was very extortionary. But in the Wikipedia, they call it very, very sort of proper names. Thomas Jefferson refused to pay the tribute to allow ships to get his ships back. And so it started the Barbary Wars. So it was the first American outreach off of the continent. It was the first war off of the continent. And the founding fathers have said, we're not getting involved with European things. We're not going to fight the European wars. We're not going to do any of this. But once our own ships started having troubles, we're like, okay, time to dominate. And I think it was Thomas Jefferson just put together the Marines, basically. This was the start of the Marines and start of like the absolute military dominance of the oceans. We go over, kill all these pirates, burn their cities down, and say, anybody else wants some? And we've been sort of ruling the high seas ever since, which was another sort of big blow to the British Empire, who had sort of formerly held that title. So anyways, this is a huge part of American history, a huge part of the American soul. And what we see in many different ways, and we've pointed out in a lot of different instances, what Trump, you can get into the minutia of the policies, you can get into the minutia of whatever, whether it's good or bad, we're kind of talking outside that. He's into like this just centuries old throwback to the beginning of America. Like, he's taking these concepts from as early in American power as he possibly can.
This is
and
on
rebuild
brand. This is on
Very on
brand
brand.
with "Make America Great Again," and that
It's-
encompasses all of American history, not just the 20s or the 50s or something. No, we're talking the whole, especially in the context of military. It has to be part of his thing. So yeah,
Old school dominance, old school 1700s, 1800s dominance.
It does show that there's nothing new under the sun, that we don't really change much, even though the communication system and there's a whole lot of infrastructure that is different when it comes to actual things that matter in the world. It's the ships, it's the goods, it's resources moving from here and there. It's that's been the key to domination worldwide since the United States really took over, when technology advances and the military advances.
Sir Darren, reminds that I was calling it Tripoli because I didn't know what else to call it, and he reminds us of that good old, I think it's a Marines song, "From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we fight our battles in the air, on land, and sea." Thank you, Sir.
Does this mean Sam Tripoli is part of the op of the whole thing?
Yeah, I don't know. He's very proud of his heritage over on that side of things. I want to get a chance to meet Sam Tripoli one of these days. I keep up with this stuff. He's a wacky dude. Okay, so get ready, get your boats, get your homies, get your guns, letters of marque, bring it back. Let's go. But we have just days after the Venezuelan operation, we have very similar operations taking control of these. They call them ghost ship, shadow fleets. We talked about the sanctions that the U.S. had on Venezuela before, how the sanctions were not necessarily on the country, but the sanctions were on individual ships. These were sanctioned ships, and coming from Iran to Venezuela, that's about as improper of a thing that Trump could allow as possible. Russia being so comfortable with their communication, sending a formal apology, formal request, please stop chasing this ship. There are rumors. We don't have confirmation on the rumors, but there's rumors, that what are they called? The Night Stalkers or something, similar black ops that pulled off the project in Venezuela. Maybe not the exact guys, but similar teams pulled these ones off. So we've got another display of sort of the next gen black ops operations happening all over the place. Sends quite a message to the rest of the world, as it did before, being able to take these ships. There are rumors that the cargo on these ships isn't oil and perhaps could be weapon systems that through Iran, Russia was sending over to Venezuela to try to escalate the situation away from this sort of done deal that Trump and Rubio kind of making it sound like it's all done. We're in control. Don't worry. So, in the eyes of the broader picture, the administration might consider this a way to actually stop a war, if that's the case, but we don't have any certainty if it was filled with weapons. But, that would be a concern. So that's the news today. Of course, it's setting off the mainstream fuses in all the same ways. This Bella 1 rather began. The Coast Guard began chasing it kind of down south en route from Iran to Venezuela. The Bella 1 changed course and actually zipped up, trying to go up around Iceland, up around the UK to try to run back home to Russia, basically. And it was caught a little bit off the coast of the UK there. So the change of plans from going to Venezuela to turning around and going up to Russia, was a little bit, I get it. You don't want your ship to be taken, but does pose questions as to motive there.
That's fine. I was just going to speculate, which may not be the best thing to do, with just in terms of scripture, the beast does come out part sea, or at least when John saw it, he had like 1 foot in the sea. The angel did 1 foot on land. And I'm wondering if there's, because all this is making me wonder if there, as we move into the network state era, and of course, a lot of these maritime things, the drama is a nation state thing. You know, it's the game of nation states and what happens in the neutral sort of pathways of the oceans and the seas and stuff. Could there be like a really powerful ship, something like a cruise ship, but maybe even bigger with, you know, the kind of things we can build today, that basically acts as some kind of home base for a network state that just roams the ocean? And you know, people can be part of the network state from anywhere in the world, and as long as they are members, they can step foot onto this gigantic, you know, ship that is doing whatever, carrying things and carrying people.
We covered that exact thing years ago. I don't know. I haven't seen any follow up on it, but I don't remember which billionaire. I think it was a collection of billionaires or whatever were getting solicited for investment for that exact thing, for a series of basically cruise ships, right?
Yeah.
That are connected at sea. They can disconnect and reconnect. Yeah. To make this sort of non-nation, like
nation network
John
state.
Galt, Atlantic, you know, city of Atlantis, techno, sort of nation state thing.
Yeah,
well, I haven't heard anything about it, but we did cover that a few years ago.
Okay, all right. Well, hey, maybe the first one will be the United States of Trump, and he'll just turn America over to the nation of Trump, and then we can be the network state, #1 network state, baby.
Another piece of this, again, whether Trump really knows it or not, you know, we're aware of at least in the view of occultists, of Marina Abramovich, of sort of that occult community around the world. In their view, they see Trump as like this very powerful chaos magician, right? So whether he knows it or not, he's sort of hearkening, if I can put it in these words, he's sort of hearkening or reawakening, you might even be able to call like the old gods of American, you know, power or whatever.
Yeah.
Because he also recently just announced his his plan to build the Trump class. I think they're destroyers. I don't remember what they are, but a type of military boat, and they're going to be called the Trump class. And he had these kind of funky, you know, computerized drawings made up, and he's talking about how great these ships are going to be, and blah, blah, blah. They're going to be the biggest, most powerful ships in the world. And specifically, it was like they're going to have lasers on them. They're going to have nukes on them. They're going to have energy weapons. It's going to be just this like technocratic just display of absolute dominance, which, you know, I've been kind of digging into some history of the Second World War and the sort of before the nukes were dropped, what was actually sort of the surprising decisive factor, especially in the Pacific. And this was the moment in the sort of Pacific theater in World War II where everybody was absolutely taken aback and surprised. The Japanese generals, the American generals, everybody was really kind of blown away at just how powerful and effective the new technology of aircraft carriers were. Because this is really kind of the first time that really effective aircraft carriers were put under the test of battle. And long story short, you know, the naval guys were obsessed with, you know, gunships and putting big guns on boats and just get bigger guns on the boats. That's what's going to do it. And this little experiment called aircraft carriers was just demolishing everything. And so it became basically a war of aircraft carriers before the nukes fell. And so, you know, when I hear Trump talking about putting lasers and things on a boat, is it kind of the next surprising turn in, you know, naval power, or is he sort of ignoring, you know, is he missing the mark in like drone ships? You know, China's talking about making these drone ships that'll just like swarm thousands of drones at an enemy, something like that. But all you got to do is put some drones on the Trump class ship and you're caught up. Easy
Fair
peasy.
game. Yep.
Okay.
Iron versus iron.
Little update while we're on the Trump topic here. The president truthed something. And, you know, this is why the show's called Trump Turnaround, because the past few months have been, let's just say, a negative experience for people's perceptions of Trump's, their thoughts.
Before you move on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Before you move on, sorry to just should we do the other one first? Just because thematically, I think it makes more sense about the defense contracts. And then
sure. Yeah, either way. Yeah, let's do it. So here was another story. I mean, but my setup kind of...
Your setup makes sense either way. So yeah, continue.
You know, we've had a couple months where lots of people are saying, you know, Trump's just not it. He's just this, he's just that. And he probably is all those things, by the way. He's a politician, he's a billionaire, he's a chaos magician. Like, nobody should just...
His name pops up on the Epstein list.
Yeah, just, you know, I'm not
whether there's
saying
anything hard there or what. Yeah.
Just not question what's going on, but it's been a hard time for the American right the past few months.
Yeah.
And the timing of the past week, not only with the Venezuela thing, which can be considered kind of controversial, you know, we don't want to get involved with other countries, this kind of stuff, the taking the boats. Okay. I mean, I don't know who really has anything fun to say about that. But he's also had this like snap, the turn in a lot of the, again, kind of the Trump-like actions, the sort of unilateral actions that even like Antifa couldn't argue with. So very interesting timing at a time where he has not had the support that he's used to, and taking drastic measures which would threaten to increase his, you know, whatever problems politically. But he's taken a few actions here which are really intense. And like I said, with the Venezuelan project, highly leveraged, highly specific, highly leveraged actions that affect everything, and almost nothing else he could have done could have had as much effect as he has here. So here's one of them. This is his truth. He says, all United States defense contractors and the defense industry as a whole, beware. He's saying this as America is proving that its defense industry is dominating anything that they can do, right? So you'd think this would be a moment where he would be like, see, we should let the defense contractors do whatever they want. We should,
right. That's what's been the pattern, is anytime the military does do something, you know, quote unquote good on behalf of the country, or something ethical, whatever out there, it's usually justification for continued funding of these, you know, different public-private partnerships with these defense contracts.
Yeah,
but
just let them do whatever they want. It's working.
Yeah, what's he doing?
So in the midst of all this, he says, all United States defense contractors and defense industry as a whole, beware. While we make the best military equipment in the world, no other country is even close, defense contractors are currently issuing massive dividends to their shareholders and massive stock buybacks at the expense of and detriment of investing in plants and equipment. This situation will no longer be allowed or tolerated. Now, this issue of corporate stock buybacks and corporate dividends, you know, serving the shareholders instead of the country or the people, this is something that even Antifa like complains about. And he says also, executive pay packages in the defense industry are exorbitant and unjustifiable, given how slowly these companies are delivering vital equipment to our military and our allies. Salaries, stock options, and every other form of compensation are far too high for the executives. Defense.
What is he, a socialist? These are our defense, first line of defense for the country. Why is he going after all these you know, people making the paycheck for doing all the hard work? I don't know, he sounds like a socialist over here. What's going on?
And you pair that with the criticism by the socialists of Trump's just taking over Venezuela to give money to his oil billionaire buddies. He's just serving the billionaires. And then he's turning around and saying, all these billionaires, You're making too much money. He says defense companies are not producing our great military equipment rapidly enough, and once produced, not maintaining it properly or quickly. From this moment forward, these executives must build new and modern production plants, both for delivering and maintaining this important equipment and for building the latest models of future military equipment. Until they do, no executive should be allowed to make in excess of $5 million, which, as high as it sounds, is a mere fraction of what they're making now. Additionally, the maintenance and repair of equipment once sold is far too slow and must be immediately enhanced. As president, I'm demanding that maintenance be spot on time.
Okay, so this is he's doing the same thing he kind of did with Venezuela, updating the infrastructure. This is just efficiency. This is not so much like, hey, we're going to stop. We're going to slow down the military industrial complex. It's more like, no, we got to be a little more efficient with our delivery, because
he's saying build it better, build it faster, stop taking all this money because the equipment's good, but it takes 10 years to build a boat, takes 4 years to build one missile, all these crazy numbers. And they're, of course, so expensive. And the maintenance deals also are an issue. We saw
I think that's funny too, because how much of our weapons, it's been a big problem, right? That we don't keep track of the weapons, so they end up in terrorists' hands and other nations. We're sending weapons that we don't need anymore, but maybe are we forced to do that because...
And it's explicitly for the benefit of the defense contractors.
Right.
This was a big deal when Ukraine started, and they're sending all of our equipment, our stockpile of equipment was getting sent to Ukraine. And it turns out they were doing that so that they can give more money to defense contractors to refill their own stocks, et cetera, et cetera. And so the Biden administration specifically really whittled away at the material that the U.S. has to fight big wars with. Hopefully we never have to fight a big war, but it was obviously a sort of taxpayer funded, defense company supplement or whatever you want to call it. All right. Now here's the big part here. Therefore, I will not permit dividends or stock buybacks for defense companies until such a time as these problems are rectified. Likewise, for salaries and executive compensation, all caps, military equipment is not being made fast enough. It must be built now with the dividends, stock buybacks, and overcompensation of executives, rather than borrowing from financial institutions or getting money from your government. So he's saying, all this money that you're using for shareholders and for executives, that stops until you build the factories here in America. It's also a problem that all of our stuff is made other places. Build the factories, get better, build faster. Nobody's getting their pay package or their dividends or whatever. And the question immediately comes to mind, like, how in the world does he have the authority to do this? I don't think he does.
I'm having that moment.
Very socialist in the idea, in the philosophy of it.
It's interesting because there's so many, as a great chaos magician would do, there's just so many layers to this because first of all, you have Trump doing something that makes sense in sort of a baseline objective. Hey, you guys are making too much money. We got to fix this. Yeah, it's a very logical and sound reason to reroute some of the money that's been going out. It's been going into the pockets of these executives and stockholders and all these people, and not basically to back into your business, if I could just put it so bluntly. And it's not benefiting anybody.
He's like saying, be a better capitalist, or I'm gonna socialist you.
I mean, he is kind of doing it. He's doing it sort of in a way now. I mean, he's putting the pressure on. So
the pressure is enough. Interesting, kind of the answer of it. But
at the same time, we know that he just had that clip a few I guess a week ago, 2 weeks ago, where he's talking about we're going to build a bunch of robots and AI. We're going to employ, I guess, artificial things or whatever he was talking about. So a lot of that money is going to go towards AI, robotics. It's not going to go necessarily to new jobs. I mean, there may be some influx of new jobs in the short term, but certainly, if these defense companies need to build better factories and all this stuff, they're going to look at robotics and automation and AI and all those things, which Trump has lifted up over here. We know you're doing this over here with the military industrial, or I guess just like the privatization of military companies. And then over here, he's got the AI almost like building up the product and shifting that out too. And maybe there's a reason why the states can't put a stop to some of the AI stuff. Wasn't that a federal executive order that?
Yeah, that's gone back and forth. He actually ended
gone
up
back and forth. Okay.
He responded to the public outcry, and he did not.
Okay. So all right, that's still back and forth. But in any case, he's you can see how he is got to spin so many plates at the same time and have it kind of feed off one another, you know, in a way that makes everything move forward.
Afraid.
I mean,
he's not afraid.
It's crazy, man. It's wild.
Whoever he needs to threaten. Now, here's the kicker. Okay. Let's see here. It must be built now with the dividends, stock buybacks, and overcompensation of executives. He's specifically saying that the dividends, the stock buybacks, all that money that you're just financializing to make more money, that's what you use to get better, rather than borrowing from financial institutions or getting the money from your government. So he's also speaking to and this is a little bit more subtle, but it goes to broad. I mean, you broaden this out, the entire economic situation, the whole Crash Bandicoot situation here, money print, rather than borrowing from financial institutions. And what do we know? Borrowing from financial institutions is money printing. That is what money, we've gone over it over the past couple months, but just as a refresher, they don't print money like in a printer. We know this. And they don't really
they do that too to gaslight the public.
That's nothing, it's like a shoebox. It's like a shoebox of cash. But the real money printing doesn't even happen at the Fed. The Fed does not do the printing of the money. The Fed creates the conditions that allows the banks to create the money. When you get a mortgage, when you get a car loan, when you get a whatever, it's your loan does not come out of the bank's bank account, right? It's not money that exists. When you get a loan, that is what prints the money. So for the defense contractors to be barred from borrowing money to improve their stuff, he is halting any inflation that would come out of and he also includes getting money from your government. And when you get money from the government, what is it? It's bonds. It's more debt. It's more money printing. So traditionally, if the military industrial complex was going to have to improve all of its stuff, what does it do? It borrows money, which is printing money, which is increasing inflation,
increasing the supply of the dollar, which it devalues the purchasing power of every dollar. Yes, that's been
so. At the same time, the same time, he has this like small print that says, "You do it with your money. You're not going to inflate the dollar for this. Okay, you're just not going to do it. You're not going to print money. We're not going to give you money. You're going to do it on your own or else." Which, on the other side of all of this, is like, yay. Great. I mean, what a radical, it truly is. It's kind of hard to appreciate like just how radical it is for a president to come out and demand that the military industrial complex stop printing money, stop taking loans, stop taking government funds. And to finish it out here, it says, or getting the money from your government. Longer term, this is good for both executives and shareholders. Again, I love it. He frames it around pro-capitalist things. This is pro-capitalism, all right?
Oh, see, look, he understands the short-term, long-term, man. It's gonna hurt. You're gonna rip the Band-Aid off, but over the longer term, it's better. It's better.
Very subtle, but it's very real. And he's talking about, it's good for the executives, good for the shareholders. Capitalism rules because it will be great for our country. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again. and then he signs off there. So this is, I mean, it really is a bit of a historic statement. Now,
It is.
again, whether he can actually do it or whatever, or he's just telling his buddies and they know that if they don't comply, he's going to make trouble for them. Who knows? But it is.
Well, I'm taking a look at the charts of Lockheed Martin, the stock, and there is a big red candle today, Basil. It is a very big day of plummeting. However, the last 3 days,
shareholders going, oh no, I'm going to stop getting my dividends.
Yeah, the three green candles moving up are the people that sold there are the people that know what was about to happen, and then everybody else. But what's interesting is that there's an old saying, when in doubt, zoom out, and they're not really. I mean, they're going to be fine. I don't think they're going to, as far as Lockheed Martin themselves. They're going to be okay. They're still higher than they had been. And obviously they're a little lower than all-time highs for them historically in 2024. But, it is a little bit unprecedented. And it goes to show that the public awareness about this type of corruption is at a certain level where a president could do something like this and people understand what's happening a little bit more. And I don't know that people understand everything going on, and certainly we don't either, but in terms of actual tangible transparency of how things have worked for the last 20, 30 years, I guess at a certain point there's a critical mass where you do something like this and it doesn't really make a huge splash because people are already kind of used to it, or that I don't know what I'm trying to say with that, but good.
Yeah, well, at least
movement,
the theater of it. Remember, everything is theater, even if it's real or not.
I know.
This post, I mean, is incredible theater that is impossible to sort of disagree with. I mean, this would be to the benefit of the country, and to a degree you wonder, okay, what does this mean for me? I mean, at the very least he's making a statement saying, hey, military industrial complex, you can't inflate the currency just to avoid spending your own money, which is so.
There are moments in there though where it's like all caps, final paragraph, military equipment is not being made fast enough. I mean, that does imply wars can continue, selling of weapons will continue. Like, none of that. I'm not stopping any of that. I just want you guys to clean up your books a little bit, make it a little nicer for the public,
Back to my recent sort of dive into the World War II history, and I shared this with you before the show, but that exact line in all caps, thanks for pointing it out, military equipment is not being made fast enough. And you ask, fast enough for what? What is coming that we need?
Why do we need to speed it up?
And again, in the World War II, in the Pacific theater, there's that famous quote from the emperor who goes, oh, I think we have awakened the sleeping dragon, talking about America's military. But there was another sort of underlying, I'll just paraphrase it, but among the generals in Japan, and they're all kind of arguing with each other and they're talking to the emperor and stuff. And what really blew their minds and what really scared them was they did not know America's industrial capacity. You talk to Churchill, you talk to FDR, you talk to the Japanese, you talk to the Germans. The way to win a war is directly commensurate with your domestic industrial capability. Our domestic industrial capability being famously horrible in the past few decades, and this sort of movement and all the other sort of manufacturing he keeps going on and on about. He's trying to reindustrialize the country. Well, okay, maybe that's good, maybe that's bad. Will Americans work in factories? I don't know. We'll find all this out. But the reindustrialization really fast does obviously signal, could there be a war coming up pretty soon that we need this domestic industrialization to win the war, like we like every war we've ever won, it's because of industrialization of the United States. And the wars that we've lost have all been during the period of American history where we had a decline in industrialization. After World War II, once we started, globalizing the economy, sending factories overseas, not having so many factories or manufacturing in the United States, suddenly we started, quote unquote, not winning wars anymore. North Korea, Vietnam, these sorts of things.
What's interesting? That we know the famous line from Klaus Schwab.
We need a great reset.
And I think a lot of people in the world were like, yeah, there needs to be something fixed. Something's got to change, all this kind of stuff. What the change was and what the change is differed between if you're like a globalist or if you're an American or something like that. It is a blessing, I suppose, that you and I, Basil, and many of our listeners, not everybody, obviously, we have a lot of people listening overseas, but there is a sense of, well, Trump came in and Team America is winning in the Great Reset, and we haven't had to do too much kinetic damage so far. I mean, there's been some stuff, obviously, but it feels like everybody, all the nation states are in this game are playing the reset, and whoever can kind of manage it the best, and you're trying to avoid physical altercations and conflict, but everybody knows things have to change, so it's like a little race, like a musical chairs for resources. And it's just very interesting to watch Trump lead America to be like, we're number one, we're going to win. Just all of us being like, okay. I mean, I guess it's not going to stop the wars and all this stuff, but at least it'll give us a little prosperity or something. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to look over time, but
it's kind of that brick in the wall thing. If I'm being optimistic, okay, listen to me, everybody.
Yes. I'm trying to be optimistic in this dark age that we're living in right now.
I'm choosing to have an optimistic view right now. Do not email me. Do not at me. When I choose to have an optimistic view, the combination of all of these things starts to actually form a picture of a kind of comeback to the economy. Now, the regular Joe, it'll be a lagging experience, okay? It's not overnight, but number one rule of sort of economics, the communists would like to say that, the basic unit of the economy is labor, and that was true for a really long time, but there's an argument to be made that the now number one basic unit of economy is energy. And with taking over the biggest oil reserve in the world, giving the United States basically not only unlimited energy for ourselves, but also control over other people's energy, that's step one into possibly making domestic life a little better. Step two could be stopping major corporations and industries from inflating our currency by not letting them borrow money and take government money to improve their business. It's a step that technically would move everything in a positive inching way. But he took one more step, Gons, another brick in the wall.
Yes, another one. It wasn't just one. Yes.
No. This is coming from Carolyn Leavett, the White House press secretary, posted Donald Trump's truth. Everything's from Donald Trump's truth.
Hold on. We got it. We have to acknowledge that she put 4 siren emojis and then wrote, "This is huge" in all caps, exclamation point, house emoji.
Yes. It's
well done, press secretary. Very 2026.
And it says here, and I have a clip we're going to play after this, but let's read this, his post here. He says, for a very long time, buying and owning a home was considered the pinnacle of the American dream. It was the reward for working hard and doing the right thing. But now, because of the record high inflation caused by the Joe Biden and the Democrats in Congress, that American dream is increasingly out of reach for far too many people, especially younger Americans. It is for that reason and much more that I am immediately taking steps to ban large institutional investors from buying more single-family homes. And I will be calling on Congress to codify it. Yeah, that'll be the day. But People live in homes, not corporations. I will discuss this topic, including further housing and affordability proposals and more at my speech in Davos in 2 weeks. So he's dropping the Davos bomb here. And look, we've said it on this show. Many people have said it because it is so glaringly obvious. Again, the one most highly leveraged thing that any president could do to take a positive step towards home affordability is to ban BlackRock from buying all the homes. Okay. It's the easiest, simplest way to do it. There's a lot of complicated things you could do, but this is the most common sense and obvious. And he, at the same time as coming out against the military industrial complex, he's saying, hey, you know that super simple common sense thing that we all know is ruining everything? Okay, let's just stop doing that. Which is, if we're choosing to be optimistic, another great step. Let's play this little breaking news clip here from CNBC.
Want to get down to Washington. We have some breaking news out of the White House. Eamon Javers has that for us. What do we know here, Eamon?
Scott, we've got a new post here on social media from the President of the United States who says he is taking action to deal with inflation in home costs. The president taking to social media to say that I am immediately taking steps to ban large institutional investors from buying more single-family homes, and I will be calling on Congress to codify it. People live in homes, not corporations. I will discuss this topic, including further housing and affordability proposals and more at my speech in Davos in 2 weeks. So the president here is saying that the American dream of owning a home has gotten out of reach for too many Americans, particularly young Americans, and says he is going to take steps to block large institutional investors from buying homes.
Okay. They're repeating it a lot. They're not really... we just read the truth, and then he read it, and then, he's just kind of repeating it again and again. I think it's hilarious, though, in the background. We have Blackstone Inc., that's BX, not BlackRock, but Blackstone.
Yeah, we get them mixed up. Blackstone is the real estate one.
But it's okay. I mean, the memo is out. It's got to be a black, some kind of rock. So, but the price just going straight down on the chart while this guy's talking. But what I think is hilarious is it was in the middle of a bounce. I don't know what time frame it looks like just an hourly or half hourly chart or something, but you see the straight down of the chart. Obviously it went down 6 or almost 7% as this news was breaking, but you can the real-time ticker was funny because it was in the middle of a bounce, but you can see that as this guy's talking, it's like ticking up and down. Like people aren't sure if they should keep selling or if they should buy. I mean, it's pretty funny to me.
I mean, an immediate 6.86% drop, 7%. I mean, a drop
huge,
for a company like Blackstone, a 7% drop in what looks to be a half hour is pretty gnarly.
It's pretty crazy. But again, you zoom out and look, I mean, they're still below some highs and stuff, but they're still much, much higher than they were in November.
Yeah, and I don't think the Trump's point is to crash the stock of these companies. I don't think that.
Yes, I know. That's just it is simply a way to mention or look at how something like the news here, which is looking at the time frame of an intraday trade of the stock, it could make it look. It can make it look like it's apocalyptic. Oh my goodness, it's going straight down to zero. We're all done. But it actually, it's just a little pullback in the overall perspective. It's
worth noting that his post says that they can't buy any more homes, so he's not going to be pulling a Mamdani, and
he's not confiscating the homes
from the court. I mean, gosh. We could go in. I'm not going to go into it, but if you're watching the Mamdani situation in New York, it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse every day. They're just straight up saying like, yeah, we're going to take white people's homes and it's going to be great and equality. They literally point to like picking on explicitly white people, like his tenant. I don't know what she's called, but she's his officer of like rent and tenancy issues, basically it's just like, yeah, we're going to change what private property means here in New York. And, specifically with white people, they're going to understand private property in a totally different way. It's for the collective good.
Yeah. This is we don't need to get into it today, but there's the race op is definitely at another level right now, and
New York is a totally different country right now.
It is. It's pretty much.
So there you go. I mean, look, we're going to take a moment and choose to be optimistic. It's a lot of crazy things, a lot of drastic things. It is explicitly all theater, whether it's going to happen or it's not going to happen. Things like the housing corporation issue, this would really it would have to go through Congress. Nobody believes Congress can do anything. Can he pull that off? Who knows? And of course, the timeline on these things, it'll take all year, but it is the midterms. That's the thing to remember.
Yeah.
It is the midterms. The right has had a really hard couple months. And in the sense of politics, these are the types of things that you start promising at the beginning of the midterms. If you can pull them off by the midterms, you might be able to actually, avoid the worst case scenario. But it's
power going.
That's kind of the point with the timing of this whole year, packing it all together. And of course, the political aim here is to make it in the midterms, but we've got 11 months until that actually happens. So we'll see.
Do you have we're gonna go. I thought you were gonna do some text messages.
No, I will. I actually will. Thank you very much. I will want to mention we're going to get into actually some more seemingly positive theater here, but I do want to give a shout out to everybody who's on the Canary Cry text message alert system. And it's a new year, baby. If you're not on the Canary Cry text message alert system, you should get on it. It's very easy. Take out your phone, open up your text messages, send the word canary to 877-740-3226. That's just the word canary to 877-740-3226, and you will start receiving text messages straight from me. Right before the show starts, we'll let you know, because of course you're not getting the notifications. There's about 2% of you out there who get any notification from the video platforms that we're going live. And so it's a good way to take a little bit more control of your media diet, and you get to choose if you want to tune in versus letting YouTube choose for you. But the fun part is you can text us back at that number. It's great. It's fun. I read them all. I cannot respond back via text because it is very expensive for us. But you can text back and be like, let's see. Oh, no, it logged me out. Stall for 4 seconds while I log back in. Do. I'm back, baby. Okay.
Okay. I found the stall jingle. It's
I know.
13 seconds, but you're good.
You're
quick.
okay.
You're quick.
Let's see here. 971 text says happy 2026, year of the fire horse.
Yes.
You know how I learned that it was the year of the fire horse? From watching Maduro speak with the Chinese delegation 4 hours before he got kidnapped. That's how I knew. Thank you, 971. 859 says have a great show. New York meetup, anyone? Okay.
Ooh, that's we need the New Yorkers to. There's some places.
We need
boots on the ground.
To get in there.
One of those places. Yeah.
New York, whether it's New York City or New York State, wherever you are in New York, you guys need each other more than anybody else. Okay,
it's
true.
If
you're a New York Canarian, whether you're listening live or you're listening later, or you're listening to the podcast version, we got at least one other Canarian in New York. And here's the thing. It's 2026, folks, and meetups might be the single most important thing that you can, participate in. So if you go to Canary Cry Meetups, like I am right now, .com, and spelled incorrectly, meetups, not meta.
canarycrymeetups.com. Yeah.
Canarycrymeetups.com
now for anybody watching. Yes.
Oh, I did it wrong again. I did Murtops.
Yeah.
We have one official meetup has already been scheduled for the year, okay? And it's coming up, and it is
Let's refresh this page.
Louisville,
Yeah,
Kentucky.
Kentucky. Yes.
February
Very
7th, 2026, 3 p.m. Saturday at the Whirling Tiger in Louisville, Kentucky. You can email or RSVP to lookglassdarkly@gmail.com. Kentucky, I'm looking at you guys. There's a lot of stuff going on in Kentucky, and Canarians need to stick together. Now, if anybody else wants to put on a meetup, just pick a time, pick a place, send us an email at canarycryradio@gmail.com. Give us the details of your meetup. I'm telling you, just step out in faith. If you build it, they will come. Just pick a time, pick a place that you have off work or whatever. We will spread it far and wide. And I will also pitch, because these two things are related. I have not pitched it recently, but as far as the text message alert system goes, we have another list you can join, and it's keyword meetups. So to the same number, 877-740-3226, text the word, one word, meetups. We've learned that autocorrect on phones is really bad with one word meetups, but MEETUPS, focus, make sure autocorrect doesn't change it. And then we'll be sending out meetup updates. If someone pitches a meetup or if there's a meetup in your area, we'll be sending those out there. There's nothing else to do, folks. There's nothing else to do. The meetups is where it's at. It's 2026. There's no more time. Get on the list, put on a meetup, meet Canarians in your area.
There's also, we've gotten some messages, Basil, we need to talk about.
Okay.
And we've been talking about for a couple years to do some sort of official Canary Cry thing somewhere. And it would be cool to do. And I know there's people that want to help us with that. So.
Yeah, we've got we got
to get on it, man.
Got a couple hints.
Stuff.
What we really need is to put together like a crack event planning team of Canarians that can like do things in the background. Like we'll be involved. We're there, but like the logistics of like finding a place, getting in a place, scheduling the thing, getting the event stuff, all that. That's like that's a job that we're not equipped to do necessarily, but we can, head up a team, put a team together and put Canarians, their value for value to work there. Okay, we got, let's see here. Okay, we got another text here. This is from Bibu Zuzu. Let's go ahead and hit that producer jingle real quick.
Producers, assemble!
And this comes from Bibu Zuzu in the text message system. She says, hey, Canary fam, praying for a great show. Pray for no, quote, peaceful protests to happen here in Minnesota with the ice. Bibu Zuzu, Dame Harmony, Hot Dish, and Glitchy Goomy. Yeah, that's something we're not diving into today as it's breaking, but it's certainly flooding the information vectors. An incident early this morning with ICE and someone trying to run them over and them defending themselves. With all the Somali stuff and the fraud stuff and the Tim Waltz stuff, Minnesota seems to be fully primed for some, let's say, controlled demolition. And so, yes, we're all producers here. Pray for Minnesota. Pray for Canarians in Minnesota. Pray for
that's another place that might need a meetup is Minnesota. Y'all need to find each other in Minnesota.
I think we had one before. I'm
pretty sure we have. Yeah,
it's Twin Cities, right? Twin Cities is Minnesota.
Yeah,
I think we did. We've got Canarians in Minnesota.
Let's do it.
Maybe another good time to get together with one another, because remember, it's not just about having a good time and talking about crazy stuff with people at the meetups. These are the people to meet. This is your team. If things go south, you want to be able to count on each other to, whatever. I mean, if things go worst case scenario, you got to have your little team of Canarians who can help each other out. So,
well, it's like Trump going back to the early tactics of U.S. dominance with the maritime stuff. A lot of human societies have thrived and survived because of
small groups
knowing,
of people
knowing people,
meeting in a
working
coffee
together,
shop.
living together. Yeah, so it's a very important part of life.
Okay,
Yep.
so I think there was one more I wanted to say here. So I marked one. Let's see. Oh, we got this from one of our Canadian producers because of the little chat we had about Canada last episode, 604.
Alberta.
Yeah, it says Canada is a failed state that hasn't realized it yet. We are run by globalist corporate class. Brookfield is essentially at the helm. Quebec is leaving. Alberta is leaving. Saskatchewan wants to leave. The natives are used as a destabilizing tool. The left and the right divide is extreme and absolute. I'm terrified for the future of this, quote, post nation, as Trudeau called it. Did he call it a post nation? I didn't catch that. I mean, I believe that he would.
He would, yeah. Of course he
scary.
would.
Yeah, okay. We're praying for you, Canarians. We've got quite the contingent of Canadian Canarians praying for you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything you want to mention there?
Yeah, no, I'm just finding a Guardian article about the Canada experiment from 2017, and they talk about if you can truly have post-nationality. Can you be post-national?
Oh my gosh.
Canada is.
That's it. That's the network state. That's the technocracy.
That's it. Yeah, they did it. They're effectively pushing all Canadians into the network state, eh?
They're ground zero for that, which, with all this stuff going on with Venezuela, which interrupts, American economic deals with Canada, and now the Greenland thing. Canadians going to be surrounded on all sides.
We're already in this is not World War III or traditional World War, but certainly, man, we're living through a lot of changes right now. It's pretty wild.
And all you got to do is look back to Technocracy Inc. from the 1940s and their map.
20s.
The 20s. And their map of what did they call it? The Technate, the North American Technate, which was basically everything we're seeing happen now with Trump's connection to Elon's connection to Technocracy Inc., Trump's connections with Technocracy Inc. We're basically watching a multi-generational spiritual ancestry of the Technate, the Technocracy, making all of North America and parts of South America one big economic zone. And, we're step by step, things are starting to look a little bit more like that. That's why.
Well, what's crazy is
you want to know what's going on today, you just got to look at what was going on 100 years ago.
Yeah, and specifically, when you pull up that Technate map, and we've talked about this, the red. There's a map of the North America with all of Canada and Alaska and Greenland, and it's all red. And then, of course, the states are all red. And then it goes through Mexico and that, the little narrow region that connects to South America. And what the Technate published was the red continues on to those two northern
Colombia and
American
Venezuela
states. Yep, Colombia and Venezuela.
And
we know Colombia's in the scope right now. It's with
Colombia's on
Cuba
the list
and everybody else. So it's
on the list.
The Technate, man. This it ties back to Elon and his bloodline. And man, it's Trump and Elon, all these guys, they're fulfilling some kind of family bloodline promise.
Yeah, maybe we need to do a refresher on this, Maybe we need to put it all together again. We've done it previously, but we've got new stuff going on. Yeah, put together the storyline from the 1920s, the Technate, and the exact things were happening today, and the exact bloodlines, the exact people.
The bloodlines, yeah.
I think that'd be pretty good. That's one of those things we should almost do separately and put out as a single
radio
thing for people. That would be the thing to do. And just to acknowledge, because I see some Canadians, there's lots of crazy stuff with Canada right now that are absolutely dystopian. There are now more I believe this is the way I heard the stat phrased, and if it's not correct, excuse me, but this is the way that I'm seeing Canadians talk about this. The MAID program, Medical Assistance in Dying, the medical suicide going on in Canada. There are more Canadians dying of the MAID program than there are Americans dying of gun violence.
Oh my gosh.
Which is a pretty staggering comparison.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Is that percentage? I mean,
that's a good question. I don't know if it's percentage.
I mean, either way, it's not a good look.
It's a huge problem because now doctors are prescribing MAID. They're like, if you're homeless, you talk to a social worker and the social worker will be like, well, have you thought about medical assistance?
So it's like an option on the thing that's on the little board that you got to carry around. You got to check it off. Like, did you ask about MAID? And man, that is, it doesn't get any more dystopian than that.
It goes, the doctors going through the checklist that they get paid with their bonuses, if they go through the checklist, they're like, have you been vaccinated for COVID? Yep. Okay. Got paid for that. Have you considered medical assistance in dying? Oh, yes. Check the box, get paid, move on. And Rami in the chat says, you now need digital ID to get government benefits in Canada. It's literally preparing Mark the Beast. I haven't confirmed that myself, but I would not be surprised if that's how they get you. This is another... Again, I know it's like an American rugged, individualist kind of thing, and we need to balance all this, especially with our faith and how we're called to be with the world and stuff. But it's always been with digital ID and Mark of the Beast that getting hooked on things like government assistance, and if the government is providing it to you and you become to rely on it, that's when they force you to get the digital ID, because what are you going to do? You'll lose all your free stuff. Okay. Praying for you, Canada. All right. Other than that, you want to get into some more good news here? Did you have anything else to mention? Oh, yeah, I already mentioned it. Join the Canary Cry text message alert system. Send the word Canary or the word meetups, or both, to 877-740-3226. All right. Good. Speaking of whack jeans.
I'm hungry.
Now you are cooking.
Can I get 2 hamburgers?
Yes, sir.
With French fries?
Yes, sir.
What about an omelet?
Sure.
Got a couple eggs.
I like food. Food is good. I like food. Food is good.
Nice. All right. There's been several announcements by RFK. We'll go through these over the past couple weeks. But the big one that I think is one of these things, especially if you have eyes to see some interesting things. Here's RFK talking about the new food pyramid.
Today marks a decisive change in federal nutrition policy made possible by President Trump's leadership and the work of MAHA moms and public health advocates who demanded reform. Today, in accordance with President Trump's directive, Brooke and I will release the dietary guidelines for Americans 2025 to 2030, the most significant reset of federal nutrition policy in history. These guidelines replace corporate-driven assumptions with common sense goals and gold standard scientific integrity. These new guidelines will revolutionize our nation's food culture and make America healthy again. For decades, Americans have grown sicker while healthcare costs have soared. The reason is clear. The hard truth is that our government has been lying to us to protect corporate profit-taking, telling us that these food-like substances were beneficial to public health. Federal policy promoted and subsidized highly processed foods and refined carbohydrates and turned a blind eye to the disastrous consequences. Today, the lies stop. The new guidelines recognize that whole, nutrient-dense food is the most effective path to better health and lower healthcare costs. Protein and healthy fats are essential and were wrongly discouraged in prior dietary guidelines. We are ending the war on saturated fats. Diets rich in vegetables and fruits reduce disease risk more effectively than many drugs. Whole grains outperform refined carbohydrates. Added sugars, especially sugar-sweetened beverages, drive metabolic disease. And today our government declares war on added sugar. Highly processed foods loaded with additives, added sugar, and excess salt damage health and should be avoided. As Secretary of Health and Human Services, my message is clear: eat real food. Nothing matters more for healthcare outcomes, economic productivity, military readiness, and fiscal stability. The dietary guidelines shape dozens of federal feeding programs, including Head Start. These standards affect 45 million school lunches every day. Meals for 1.3 million active duty service members, and food served to 9 million veterans in VA hospitals. Today begins the work of aligning those programs with affordable, whole, nutrient-dense food. Implementation requires coordination across the government. I'm working with many of my fellow cabinet secretaries to deliver results.
Okay.
A little bit more of that with the video. For those who are watching, this video played alongside the new official food pyramid. I don't know if other countries had this, but in America, you know, you learned about the food pyramid. We all saw it. We'll pull it up. Why don't you pull up the old food pyramid real quick, just to remind people.
Food pyramid. Yeah, here we go. I remember this. I was provided this propaganda as a young child.
Yeah, so you'll be healthy. You know, it's a pyramid shape. At the bottom, at the base of the pyramid, is bread, cereal, and pasta. So you're supposed to eat the most.
Load up on the carbs.
Get the carbs. Get the bread.
Load up on the carbs,
cereal.
which turns into sugar, right, in your body if you
Immediate.
don't
It's just
process it.
sugar. I mean, that's one thing that a lot of people don't learn early enough, is that when it comes to avoiding things like diabetes, it's not necessarily about eating candy bars. A lot of it's eating bread every moment of the day.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you know, it made sense. I mean, whatever, bread, okay. That was obviously, you know, he mentioned the corporate fueled food pyramid, which was grains were easy to mass produce, and the government was supplementing wheat growers, and they had the, you know, it was an easy way to deliver calories to millions of people because it was like the mid 20th century. The next on the food pyramid was vegetables and fruits, right next to each other. Okay, makes sense.
Keep that American farmer alive, yeah.
But you were supposed to eat less fruits and vegetables than cereal and pasta. Okay, keep that in mind. It is a pyramid. Then what you eat less than vegetables and fruits is meat, poultry, fish, eggs, cheese, milk, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, look, is right beneath. So milk, eggs, dairy, meat, poultry, sausage, fish. This is
your protein, the proteins.
One level below junk food, sweets, and sugar drinks. So like eating a piece of chicken is only slightly worse than eating, some sugar bomb ice cream cereal or whatever. And this got like jammed into our brains, and it's no surprise why we're all in the situation that we're in.
Is this for sure? I was making sure that because the image you have here, I'm not saying you're wrong, but it does look like some kind of vector. It's a vector image. Okay, so I don't know how accurate it is. I just pulled up the.
What are you talking about? No, this is it. This is the thing.
I know, but it's the same. It's pretty much the same. It's just they had the milk, cheese, meats under the top, which is fats, oils, and sweets. I guess this was the original one from 92. Well, not original, but 92 to 2005. So anyway, there's some small differences, but the
illustrations that show the same
main point. Yeah, the main point I think is that they wanted us to eat a lot of grain. That was like the first thing they wanted, and meat was seen as bad. I mean, I'm in my 30s, and my doctor is telling me to eat less meat. I'm like, bro, you're out of here. Basil, I found a picture on Wikipedia. There's a man inside of a food pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a microphone or something. He's talking to the kids.
Mascot suit.
Yeah, the top of the food pyramid is on his head, and he's inside the pyramid. And look at that: bread, cereal, rice. 6 to 11 servings a day.
Well, he's
of bread, cereal, and rice.
Yeah, to describe it for those who are just listening, he's dressed up almost like a Mickey Mouse mascot, but it's the food pyramid, and he's speaking to a classroom of like 50 kids.
That's me. That's like me in the crowd. That's I remember this. Yeah.
That is the level of the propaganda of the food pyramid, was they would have people dress up in mascot costumes and come to school to tell you to eat bread and to stay away from milk. Okay. Now let's go back to the food pyramid. And this is,
the new one.
When you have eyes to see, folks, things start making a lot more sense. We've got a lot of weird things going on. We've got a shift. We've got a inverting of so many assumptions and norms geopolitically. And RFK is playing his part. The government put out their new food pyramid, says eat real food. But one thing is a little strange. Now it's not a pyramid, but it's an upside down pyramid. Ooh, wake up, sheeple.
As above, so below.
It's definitely got some like great tinfoil hat or like white hat Q warrior kind of signaling, man. He's turning it upside down. We're taking the food pyramid out of the hands of the Illuminati.
The upside down triangle in Western alchemy represents water, which is very on point with being in the age of Aquarius, which we are allegedly in. And it also represents the divine feminine. And there's been a lot of, there was that Sean Ryan clip of that guy. I guess it was a while ago with the interview, but he was mentioning how he had contact with the divine feminine and he's got a message for everybody and the whole deal. So interesting how as the political landscape changes and kind of moves away from leftists, whatever, woke, progressive type of stuff, liberal type of thing, into more of a more patriotic or patristic or masculine type of thing, or reemergence of it. The symbols all point feminine. Isn't that weird?
Okay, yeah,
very strange.
Very interesting analysis. Here, I'm putting in an image in our document here. I got just an image of the new. Oops, where'd it go? Come here. Get in there, of the new food pyramid, so we don't have to look at it on this video here. There we go. All right. Eat real food, it says. Now, let's pay attention. It is an inverted pyramid. So things kind of get to stay, now it's not just inverted. Things are kind of shuffled around. But at the bottom of the pyramid, which used to be the top, the small point at the bottom is whole grains. That's your breads, your pastas. It has
a direct inversion. It's a 1-to-1 inversion.
It is a 1-to-1 inversion. Bread is now the smallest amount you're supposed to eat, which, I mean, at the very basic logic level, you say, okay, everybody's been eating the old pyramid way and every is sick and dying. Okay.
Well, diabetes through the roof, heart disease. Yeah. I mean, it's just
turn it around. There you go. So the least amount of whole grain, or they say whole grains, they're not even saying eat pasta and stuff, but your bread, your pasta is down at the bottom. Now, it's kind of interesting. They don't separate it out as well as the old food pyramid. It's kind of got a little bit of
food. Good food is good food.
Postmodern vibe or something. But right above the tiny, bread section, you have nuts and butters.
Fruits.
And well, on the left you have nuts and butters and oatmeal and stuff like that. On the right you've got fruits. It scales. It scales from the nuts to on the left side, the nuts to more protein based, so like shrimp and then eggs, fish, steak, and chicken in the back there. So I can kind of see the logic of. Oh yeah, I see how they do it.
Yeah, and on the right side it's fruit
and healthy fats. So it starts with the healthy fats at the bottom of that part, and then it grows to dairy and fish and chicken, the proteins up at the top. Then on the right is fruits and vegetables. The smallest amount the smaller amount of fruits and vegetables you're supposed to eat are things like bananas and grapes, high sugar content ones. You got your oranges, your apples. It grows up to your leafy vegetables and then your classic broccoli. The one thing that I thought was a little strange is they have carrots, a tomato, broccoli, a bag of peas, and a can of green beans. They didn't want to put fresh green beans in there. There's canned green.
I mean, if we're gonna the can of green beans is a very classic American type of, it's a little throwback, so you gotta Got to have a little corporatism in there.
Give a
still.
shout out to the canned, you know,
Who's that? The Green Giant? What was the name of the product?
Jolly-
There was like
Jolly
a
Green
mascot.
Giant. Yeah, Jolly
Yeah, so
Green
this
Giant.
is Jolly Green Giant. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So there's a product behind all of
I
this.
mean, it definitely makes sense. I think the fact that it's an inverted pyramid is another one of these, you know, it's another one of these. It's more than just a new food pyramid. It is a symbol. It's a statement. It's a spell taking down the old order.
I love the website because it's a very modern website. Okay, I'm going to quickly run through
RealFood.
Real Food starts here. It's RealFood.gov. It's got the Real Food starts here header. It's got some language here. Better health begins on your plate, not in your medicine cabinet. The new dietary guideline for Americans defines real food as whole, nutrient dense, and naturally occurring, placing them back at the center of our diets. And it's got a nice, you know, like nature video. And this website is sleek. I'm for a government website, this is the nicest design that I've seen maybe ever. Then it says America is sick. The data is clear. As you scroll down, all the stats come popping in from the bottom right. It's a very nicely done website. It's got all the stats here. I won't go through it all, but then you keep going down. And you get the old food pyramid. For decades, we've been misled by guidance that prioritized highly processed food and are now facing rates of unprecedented chronic disease. And then it keeps going here. We can solve this crisis.
Yes,
Can we?
can.
Yes, we can. For the first time, we're calling out the dangers of highly processed foods and rebuilding a broken system from the ground up with gold standard science and common sense. Introducing a new pyramid.
A new pyramid.
New pyramid. Uh-oh, the
This
website
is a
froze.
really slick website.
It's frozen on.
As you scroll, it highlights the words as if you're watching like a karaoke video.
No, look at this. As you scroll too, each element of the pyramid pops up slowly, so I can like change.
Incredible.
Like, I can make the
You know
food
what this
appear and
is?
disappear.
I give credit to Doge for this because one thing that the Obama administration, I mean, all government websites are famous for being horrible, but the Obama administration famous for corruption in paying a web
Way too much
designer
money.
$1 billion to make the worst website in
website.
existence. You know, it was another way to just funnel money to your friends. Like anybody can make a website. So we'll give my buddy $1 billion for his kid to make one on Squarespace, not even Squarespace, WordPress or something. And then
that set the precedent for just a culture of scamming. And if you can build a website, you could probably rake
totally
in some
a
cash.
part of it. Yeah.
But
the new administration, not only did they understand the quality, like the benefit of good design, which again goes to the whole chaos magician thing. You know, good design goes a long way. But they're all like this. Like the new January 6th website kind of does a similar thing, laying out the timeline of Nancy Pelosi doing January 6th. It's all very well done.
That's that. Okay, so one thing to mention on this pyramid, I think there's an order of operation here that I'm noticing as you scroll on this pyramid. The elements pop up. So the first thing that pops up is on the left: protein, dairy, and healthy fats.
Start
so
at
maybe
the top,
that's
baby. Start at the top of the inverted pyramid.
Right. But you know how the veggies and the fruits and the protein were split, like they shared two sides of the pyramid, but from the thing, and the sequence is the proteins first, then the vegetables and fruits, and then the whole grains at the end there. So anyway, maybe there's a order of operation. Ooh, they're coming at me. Whoa, the food's coming at me. Whoa,
that's amazing.
Look at that. Wow.
Go to this website.
Whoa, look at this.
It's fun.
This is the most impressive government website I have ever seen.
It's maybe one of the most
very impressed with this
websites at all.
Listen, for a podcast that barely has a website, this is impressive.
Can we get this guy to do our website? We really need to do our website.
Yeah, do we need to hire a Doge guy? What's the deal here?
Well,
this is very well done.
Well, okay. Sorry, listeners, but really, go to RealFood.gov.
RealFood.gov and scroll and have fun. Yeah.
Spend an afternoon just scrolling around, being impressed.
They really understand the idea of doom scrolling. That's for sure.
On the topic of our buddy here, RFK, more Trump. This was an announcement came a couple days ago. Trump truth. I also
This
do have a
is-
clip. I'm not sure if the clip is like going to add anything to it, but maybe
Is this a WACCINE?
WACCINE.
WACCINE.
Trump made the announcement here. He says, today, the Trump administration is proud to announce the United States of America's updated childhood vaccination schedule. This schedule is rooted in the gold standard of science and widely agreed upon by scientists and experts all over the world. Effective today, America will no longer require 72 jabs for our beautiful, healthy children. We are moving to a far more reasonable schedule where all children will only be recommended to receive vaccinations for 11 of the most serious, and dangerous diseases. Parents can still choose to give their children all of the vaccinations if they wish, and they will still be covered by insurance. However, this updated schedule finally aligns with the United States and other developed nations around the world. Congratulations to HHS Secretary Bobby Kennedy, CDC Acting Director Jim O'Neill, FDA Commissioner Marty Makary, CMS Administrator Dr. Oz. I left the user stage name for that, Dr. Oz. NIH Director Jay Bhattacharya, and all of the medical experts and professionals who worked very hard to make this happen. Many Americans, especially the MAHA moms, have been praying for these common sense reforms for many years. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And there's a little image here. It shows two sides, two cells here. On the left, it says European country. And there's a cute little baby there with 11 needles poking at him.
It's still fairly inflammatory to have 11 needles pointed at this baby. I mean, it's
still an aggressive look. And that's like when I was reading
aggressive.
the announcement, I'm like, okay, you won't require 72 jabs, but 11 seems still too many. Like
Still
a lot of people don't even want the 11, but it does say recommended, not required. So there you go. If you want, you can have 11 needles go into your baby child. That's the European countries. United States on the right, 72 injections. The baby is basically covered in a force field of injections.
What are those things called with they put it in the machine guns, when the bolts are all connected? I don't know what they're called. Belt bed,
ammo belt.
Yeah, that's what it looks like, of vaccines, of jabs.
Yeah. And this is, of course, look, I mean, this is one of the most bizarre flippity doodahs we've seen in American political culture. RFK used to be a Democrat, used to be a leftist. He used to be the weirdest hippie lawyer protecting the environment and, going against big medical stuff. And in the past 5 years, it's switched. Now he's a right-wing extremist for having the exact same thoughts. And, we all know Democrats in our lives who would have agreed with RFK back then. And then suddenly they want to put a force field of jabs around their children. And the conundrum, the weird juxtaposition is, the leftists would love to say, the medical system in Sweden, the medical system in Norway, the European medical system, that's what we should have here. And it's those European countries that don't have, in many of them, any vaccination requirements. And if they do, it's only for about 11 injections. So you've got that juxtaposition of someone who is purely hypnotized by the political left-right paradigm. They say we need to have a medical system more like Scandinavia, and yet they're still Americans, which means they want as many jabs as possible. And you're a crazy right-wing terrorist if you don't agree. But that's good news. Good news. I'll tell you, as somebody who's not yet a parent, but when I think about, having a child and having to deal with the vaccination thing, I mean, of course, vaccinate, it's just not an option, at least the current situation, just not an option. And like, I've played it in my head. Like, okay, what if I had a kid and the doctor comes in and they say, you have to do this, you have to do this. And then I go, no, I don't have to do this. And they say, yes, you do. We're going to steal your child if you don't do it. And I go, I'll fight you. You're not going to, it's like stressful to like think about. So,
oh, trust me, I've had those encounters
along
not
with
too far off what you just described there. So
yeah. Oh, I know. I bet. And along with what I've seen, and I don't want to get too deep into it because it's kind of broader, but then the natalism, pronatalism, having babies, you know, the millennial generation, we were always told having a kid is the worst thing you could do. You know, your parents would yell at you, you'd make a mistake. Oh, now you can't go to college. Oh, having a baby will ruin your life. All these boomers like complaining that having kids was like, you know, ruined their prospects to be a movie star or whatever. Like that was the culture for millennials. And no wonder millennials have taken so long. But I will say in the past year, with movies, with television shows, there has been a shift in that, just that sort of subtle culture of having babies. I went to the movies and saw it's called Marty Supreme. It's a movie about a ping pong player or whatever. And it's kind of your classic sports movie. Oh, he's good at ping pong. Oh, he wants to win the championship. Oh, he lost. Now he has to go back and reclaim his title. And I don't necessarily want to give away the full story, but let's just say it was a revolutionary film because at the end of it, having a baby was the most important thing he ever could have accomplished or whatever, which seems subtle and seems like not a big deal, but you consider literally every movie made between 1990 and 2020, the idea of having a child was like the worst thing you could do. Now we've talked about the pro-natalist kind of cult, as the mainstream media calls it, and Elon and this kind of thing. But it's kind of beautiful how the culture is kind of starting to shift. Of course, you know, if you get to the political polarities, the left is still going to be in a totally different place. But it's kind of nice to see. And I think things like this, policy-wise, might give us a chance to not destroy the human race for our own selfish desires.
For the principalities and powers, I'm sure it's a delicate balance, and of course God's sovereignty keeping everything going ultimately, but the principalities and powers are trying to depopulate on one hand, but then they're like, wait a minute, we can't run out of stock. We still need a lot of data harvesting, that we need them to have more babies. So it's just an ebb and flow, until the grand harvest, the great harvest of God.
It's all a balance.
It's all a balance. But we did live in at least for our generation, having children was like the most rebellious thing you can do. I remember just even becoming a step parent, people saying, what are you doing? Like, why are you throwing your life away? And it's like, wow, really? I'm like stepping into this role as a father for a fatherless child, and that is seen as me throwing my life away. It's like, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
I think it's interesting that you use the word rebellion. I think that's a good word to use for it, similar to how right now it's kind of rebellious in the like kind of edgy, cool,
against the tides of culture,
like with that type of the word. I think that's a cool word to use, much like we're seeing the rebellious kids are becoming Christian and like finding
right exactly
I think that's a good way to look at it. But look, all boomers, I see in the chat, I'm not saying all boomers think babies are bad. I'm saying as a millennial growing up, the worst possible thing you could do to get in trouble with your parents would be to get pregnant or to get somebody pregnant. It's, it was displayed as there's no worse thing you could do for your life than have a child, especially have one early, but also, all the movies and TV shows about women trying to be career people and having kids ruins that. Or maybe you're a sports athlete and, you're at the top of your game, but then you have a kid and blah, 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 blah. So I'm just saying, as a millennial, and I think maybe Gen X is more responsible than the boomers. I don't know, but where did Gen X get it from? So there you go. Boomers, you're off the hook. But I'm saying as a general culture, that was certainly the case.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Right. Are we good with the vaccine?
I don't think we need to play that clip. I'll just reiterate.
It's kind of bummed. I should have played it earlier, but there was the jingle that would have really tied the food stuff and the vaccine stuff together very well.
Vaccination.
There it is.
Do you remember that? I mean, it's funny because wasn't that Mayor de Blasio Man, we look back and we at the time it's like, man, New York, so ridiculous, and now look at it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, de Blasio going on TV, giving out free vaccinations for a burger, or, you know, having a burger as part of the bait to get vaccinated. I mean, it's just innocent times, Basil, innocent times compared to what's
Yeah,
going
I mean,
on, you know?
it shows the weird, you know, before that, you would never consider food and vaccines to like be connected or, you
Associate,
know,
yeah,
be the
yeah.
same thing. But it really was that like vaccine is medicine, food is like that sort of COVID era that it was definitely part of the psyop to connect food with vaccines. Like if you like healthy food, then you'll love vaccines.
Right. Okay, more World War III stuff here. All right, so we're going to discuss Iran for a moment because as the Maduro stuff was breaking, certainly there's verbiage about other nations, but Iran is in turmoil, not turmoil, but upheaval. The currency there is collapsing. BBC here has Iran anti-government protests spread to majority of provinces. Videos show, you know, this is an interesting news story for a few different reasons, but let me read some of this here. The BBC's analysis of protests protests have broken out in the last 17 in at least 17 of Iran's 31 provinces, presenting the largest challenge to the country's clerical establishment since 2022. Oh, apparently it's pretty common over there. A BBC Verify and BBC Persian analysis has found. The BBC's analysis of protests includes only those for which we have verified video footage. The true number is almost certainly far higher. There are reports of protests in a further 11 provinces. So, I mean, even them saying that there's even more. Almost all the entire country is up in arms. The wave of protests has spread rapidly across Iran since the 28th of December, when anger initially broke out in the capital, Tehran, following a fresh and sharp devaluation of the country's currency against the dollar and other major foreign countries. Now, this is interesting. December time period was when the silver pump started. Iran has been, I think, the second biggest nation acquiring precious metals, that includes gold and silver and all the metals, over the last like 30, 40 years. So, you know, I don't know what's going on there, but it's just an interesting little side note. Verified footage from the last 10 days shows evidence of anti-government demonstrations and gatherings in more than 50 towns and cities across the country, including in several regions previously perceived as being highly loyal to the state. Now, this is, again, for a true type of revolution, or a seeming revolution, to be taking place here, where a majority of the provinces are in protest. My hope, because all the rumors right now is that Israel is going to nuke Iran. That, you know, there are, yeah, I mean, that's the stuff I'm hearing, that they're ready to really go after Iran and go nuts. And, you know, that's, I mean, maybe that's hyperbole when it comes to some social media people saying that,
Yeah,
you know, Netanyahu's ready to attack.
I'm not so sure about
Iran.
nuke. I mean, I think what we're seeing in Iran, which is, I love that it's so classic. It is textbook CIA color revolution from top to bottom. It is beautiful. I don't know about nukes, but I mean,
well, it could be language that it's over the nukes. So you know, I can see how people can talk about it in that way. But so just to get some flavor of this, Lindsey Graham was on Fox News. I believe it was either last night or early this morning. And here's what he said about the situation in Iran.
To the people of Iran, help is on the way.
Did you really have this hat on Air Force One with President Trump this weekend? The one that says, am I reading that right? Does that say "Make Iran Great Again"? Did you give that to the president?
I did, and he's not Barack Obama. He's not turning his back on the people of Iran who are demanding that their oppression end. And to the Ayatollah and his thugs, if you keep killing your people in defiance of President Trump, you're going to wake up dead.
Yeah,
Iran is on the verge of falling.
I mean, bold. You will be dead if you don't answer to the
The
people.
fact that Lindsey Graham is the face of this,
I know. It's so perfect.
It's really like it had to be. It
It had to
been
be. Yeah,
anyone
it couldn't
else.
be
It
anybody
had
else,
to be
really.
Lindsey Graham.
Yeah.
And there's obviously some what would we call it? Some sort of transaction maybe going on when it comes to the Western Hemisphere, the Don Road Doctrine,
Mhm.
and Venezuela's connection with Iran, and of course, sort of the Israeli interests at the same time. Well, they got to get theirs.
There's a couple cultural things that I want to comment on in terms of the reaction in America here, or I mean, I guess it's all over the world, but where I'm seeing it is for many conservative people that are more, politically conservative. The last few months have been the topic of Israel, modern nation state Israel, coming to a head and sort of causing a rift within the conservative side of MAGA, the seeming split of America First and MAGA. But those differences seem like kind of small compared to what Trump is doing now. Trump is like actually moving some big pipes around and doing some things. And the message of a lot of the conservatives that started to speak loud, I think a lot of them are Christian Zionists, was that Islam is the biggest threat to the West. Iran is the biggest threat to the West. We must suppress Iran and suppress Islam and all this kind of stuff. And if you're if you're anti-Israel, then you are being pro-Iran, you're being pro-Islam. And so they kind of mix the politics with some of the more biblical topics and whatnot. But I saw people seeing the news on X about the protests in Iran, and they were somewhat surprised. They were like, wow, I didn't realize that that's happening. Like, what's going on here, And it really does prove the point that what we're fed, no matter what kind of strata of, especially if you fall into politics, you're going to get fed propaganda of who the enemy really is. And the part that frustrates me is that as Bible-believing Christians, as followers of Jesus, there are pretty explicit things that we should be doing when it comes to the enemy. There's exposing them, exposing the corruption and all that, but also praying for them. And, it's a different stance from simply defeating them, which is the kind of lowest common denominator political motive for, creating an enemy, creating some kind of avatar of an enemy. And I think a lot of believers forget that when they get sucked into the political conversation, because then they will echo those sentiments like, yes, Islam, they're taking over and they're this and they're that. And look, I've heard stories of friends and family in the Midwest that have a town or a church that got kind of overrun by Muslims and things. And I don't know if it's true. These are stories I'm hearing in person from people that are allegedly saying these things are happening. And again, certainly in a small vacuum of places, things like that could be going on. But even then, they seem to be part of a bigger op. And it was a little bit frustrating for me to see that, like, hey, let's get with it. Like, there's a lot of waking up and realizing thing that's going on right now. And some people are kind of putting their toe in and maybe getting some of it. But when they run into things that are against the political narratives that they sit in, I can see that it can be problematic. And that goes for all directions, I mean, it's not just libjos and your Democrat friends, Basil, that might be mouth agape when something happens that should be something that maybe a Democrat should have done, that a Republican is doing, or something of that nature. But when events happen or news stories break that's counter to the propaganda, it's an opportunity for people to at least stop and step back and reassess what's really going on here. And I don't know if there's enough of that going on, but and the like you said, the classic sort of same move when it comes to weapons of mass destruction. You brought up the legal case for that phrase for the other day when, before all this stuff started happening, the floodgates opening in 2026, we had that clip of Netanyahu and Trump standing side by side, looking like stepbrothers or something, in the same suit, black suit and red tie, and Trump supporting Bibi for any kind of offensive attack towards Iran. And so the saber rattling had continued, and the flexy language has continued throughout. But this revolution in Iran, it's classic regime change. What do you think, Basil? Is it good for the people? I mean, look, the one meme that kind of resonates with me when it comes to Iran is that classic one where it shows this is Iran before 1979, before that revolution, and everyone's kind of westernized. They look Western. They're wearing bikinis or whatever. They're hanging out at the beach. And then after 1979, and everyone's in hijabs and, they're all covered up and it's all very theocratic and stuff. Is there a place for restoration of some of that, or again, a more westernized society, a less oppressive type of regime? And
it's easy to believe. It's easy to believe that the people of Iran, at least a lot of them, are done with the Ayatollahs, are done with the hijabs, are done with the this. And there's, much like how we saw a lot of positive stuff from Venezuelans after the Maduro thing.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, we're seeing a lot of positive stuff coming out from Iranians. This is a video of an Iranian putting up a street sign, a sort of adhesive street sign over the name of a street, and it's Donald Trump Drive, or President Trump Drive. So they're sort of renaming streets already. I just watched, I mean, it's both. Well, look at this next clip here. This next clip, an Iranian protester covering her face and stuff. It's at night. She's over a thing. She's holding up a sign that says Trump, a symbol of peace. Dawn, I
think it's supposed to say, don't let them kill us.
Don't let them kill us. Right. Now, two things can be true.
So loud. Sorry about that.
There can be two things true. One of them, a lot of Iranians want more of a Western style government, Western style civilization. They're tired of the honor killings. They're tired of the blah, 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 right? That could be true. It can also be true that these videos, this sentiment, the action of some of these protesters, these videos and pleas for help from Trump coming out of there probably are very well at least influenced by CIA operators who are certainly in the area, teaching the people or making sure that America gets what it needs to justify a move on Iran.
It's fascinating because the story was reflecting, 17 out of 31 provinces, maybe even more, as in 28 out of the 31 in protests. But the videos here, you would expect something like this taking place where the guy is replacing the street sign with President Trump Drive as something where like a mob is there and they're all, putting up the sign and everyone's cheering, but it's literally a guy, like one guy, on a wall or something. So, and then,
yes, I mean, it's totally, we just have to accept.
It's very underwhelming.
The CIA's involved in directing some of these pieces of media coming out. But there's tons of videos. There's tons of videos of big protests. There's tons of videos.
Right, no, I understand that
the police started breaking out and shooting people. I just, right now, playing on another screen, I don't think we should put it on the air. I'm watching a video the moment of the assassination of Mahmoud Haqiqat, commander of the police station in Iran Shahir, Iran. He was the former head of the city's intelligence and was responsible for cracking down on anti-regime bollocks in the city. This must be a British Post or something. So yes, the Iranian people are taking violent action into their own hands here. And specifically when it comes to the response of the Iranian regime against the protesters, you have Donald Trump's post. This was January 2nd. So this has been simmering for a bit here. He says, he says shots, but if Iran shoots and violently kills peaceful protesters, which is their custom, the United States of America will come to their rescue. We are locked and loaded and ready to go. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So I think it's quite clear we're going to see, hopefully, a clean Black Ops Maduro style operation to take out the leaders of Iran. Because it seems the people are there. The CIA is obviously on the ground. I'm sure Mossad's involved as well. They're just cranking it out. They're trying to crank it all out in the first 10 days of 2026 here. I have no doubt. If I was a betting man, I'd go into Polymarket and say, you know, something's going to happen in Iran in the next, man, if it's the next 7 days, I think somebody is really lagging. I could see this happening in the next 2 days, the way things are going.
Basil, I didn't realize the clock. I'm a little short on time, but I saw you added a couple different things here. If we can quickly go through that.
Yeah. Let's just, I mean, these are just a couple updates to earlier stories. We have Trump tweeting at Raytheon, says just on the topic of his earlier military industrial complex threats.
Yes,
I've been informed by the Department of War that defense contractor Raytheon has been the least responsive to the needs of the Department of War, the slowest in increasing their volume, and the most aggressive spending on their shareholders rather than the needs and demands of the United States military. Raytheon seems to think this is the Biden administration and this is business as usual. It's not. Either Raytheon steps up and starts investing in more upfront investments like plants and equipment, or they will no longer be doing business with the Department of War. Also, if Raytheon wants further business in the United States government, under no circumstances will they be allowed to do any additional stock buybacks where they have spent tens of billions of dollars until they are able to get their act together. Our country comes first, and they're going to have to learn that the hard way. You know, it's this interesting flexing of capitalist power towards, and I don't mean this in the way that the mainstream or the left would mean this, because they don't actually know what fascism means. But in the traditional definition of fascism, which is coordination between the government and corporations for, you know, for the needs of the country, you know, it's kind of it's sort of this capitalist version, this threatening into these sort of fascist principles. Now, on top of that, there was a White House tweet that says, I have determined, this is quoted from President Trump, I have determined that for the good of our country, especially in these very troubled and dangerous times, our military budget for the year 2027 should not be $1 trillion, but rather $1.5 trillion. So we've got a carrot and a stick, right? He'll say, I will spend $500 billion more. Listen to me, military industrial complex. I got $500 billion with your name on it. But then he shakes the stick and it's stop doing buybacks, stop doing all this, you know, make the stuff and you'll make more money. This sort of very interesting, you know, capitalist extortion.
I like where it goes here. This will allow us to build the dream military that we have long been entitled to. And more importantly, that will keep us safe and secure regardless of foe. Dream military, huh? Is that's what we've been, I guess the super soldier has been in the works for a long time. We need the public facing infrastructure to catch up to the black ops and all the underground military technology we have. So this is a way to
feels, it really feels like Trump, whether it's in the way people like or don't like, is giving like one last Hail Mary for a world ruled by the United States.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to summarize it. And maybe this is his sort of, I don't know, farewell moment. I mean, he's getting old. You can kind of tell too when you're listening to him talk. He does sound way older. You go look at clips from 2016, and he's got a little bit more energy back then. But that's gonna happen when you're 80.
Didn't we all?
I know. That's the thing. I look back, but I think this is his sort of gift to America, and he's doing the best he can here. And whether for good or worse or whatever, we'll see how it all plays out.
Definitely a Hail Mary for sure.
Definitely a Hail Mary. Yeah.
Depending on your time, I'm fine landing it there and saving this stuff for next time.
I think let's because I want to spend time on this story. We can maybe do it Monday. Just to mention the news, artificial intelligence begin prescribing medications in Utah. So on the piggyback of all the MAHA stuff, we have AI, a program in Utah, AI basically dishing out the medicine for people.
Doing it.
All kinds of. Yep.
You know what's so fun too? Amazon it does telemedicine now. You can just chat to Amazon and get a prescription and get it delivered. It's great.
Yeah, I know.
I haven't done it. I recommend nobody do it, but it is fun to watch.
Yeah. I have to get going, Basil. I don't know if
okay.
You can finish the episode here with thanking some people. How long would it take to thank people, do you think?
There's not a lot of producers.
5 minutes?
And I don't need to pitch hard. Well, we can just do it real quick. All right, everybody. We are on the value for value model. You know this. We don't take any money from corporations, commies, cartels. You're not going to get any analysis like this from anybody who is taking the money from the global theology of advertisement. And we don't do that here. We're entirely sustained by God and our producers. And you can be a producer by going to canarycry.support. It's just your time, your talent, your treasure. Okay. It's not all about money. If you got skills, if you're an artist, whatever you can do to put value back in, is the only way that we survive. And we will only survive as long as people put value back in. Our executive producers are people who come in, they support the show for $100 or more for any individual episode. So we like to thank them profusely, and I'm going to take a second and thank them now, starting with Sir Jamie, not the Lannister.
Sir Jamie, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sir Jamie. Came in twice in a week. That does put him on a 2-episode executive producer streak. Thank you, Sir Jamie. We have executive producer Anon Omus.
Anon Omus. Okay.
Yeah, executive produces the show for a nice round number, which means we will not disclose it. Happy New Year. Feels like 2026 is going to be a wild ride. Much love and prayers. P.S. Hope I'm not too late for the calendar. You know what? You can have a calendar. You got it. We'll get you one. And speaking to all of the executive producer calendar receivers, keep a lookout. People will be reaching out for shipping addresses. So keep an eye out for Canary Cry emails. Of course, we've got executive producer Sir LX Protocol V2, Baron of the Brian Protocol.
All right, Sir LX Protocol. Thank you. Oh, we got a jingle for you.
Baron. It's on. Is coming in for $100 and 33 cents. 452 episode streak and 106 episode executive producer streak. That's right. And of course, we've got executive producer Felicia D.
Felicia D. Thank you, Felicia D.
Thank you. Comes in for a nice round number. That's all for our executive producers. Thank you very much, folks. The executive producers, especially these days, is keeping this show going. Yeah. But a big shout out to our monthly producers. Love the monthly producers. Doesn't matter what the number is. You can go to canarycry.support, sign up for a monthly producership, just whatever God has for you. Okay. The number matters, but it barely matters. What really matters is that people say, hey, I'm in it. Let's go. I'm on the team. Here's my couple bucks a month. It really lets us look forward, especially on days where there's no producers, and just know that there's people out there keeping us alive. Speaking of which, Sir Darren, Night of the Hungry Panda, came in with a new monthly producership of $33.33.
All right. Thank you, Sir Darren.
And of course, we have CageRattlerCoffee.com.
Cage Rattler Coffee. Was not ready for the coffee stuff right now.
Good.
So
Cage Rattler Coffee. Good. Okay. Right.
Cage Rattler Coffee. For value never tasted so good.
CageRattlerCoffee.com. Go check it out. It's coffee made by Canarians for Canarians, and every bag portion of that goes to support the show. And parallel economy, folks, this is what it's about. Stop giving your money to corporations who hate everything about you. CageRattlerCoffee.com has a New Year discount code. It is New Year, one word, NEWYEAR, New Year. Get 10% off the sample pack over there. Get the sample pack. They also have their subscription, Coffee of the Month subscription. All goes to support the show. Well, not all, but each one will keep your spirits up, support Canarians, and support the show.
Awesome.
Just a handful of people were thanking on streaks here. Mrs. Tinfoil, these people come in under $7.77, usually to keep streaks going. Mrs. Tinfoil Hatman is on a 178 episode streak. Veronica T is on a 537 episode streak. Sir Scott is on a 586 episode streak.
Amazing.
And Casey is on a 591 episode streak. We also had
Sir Casey, the Shield Knight.
We also had Tracy W. and Joel V. and VT all come in under the $7.77 mark.
Right. Thank you.
We're going to save Art for next episode, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry about that for today.
That's
I didn't
okay.
realize the clock was running that low, but yeah.
If you're on the newsletter, we sent out some great memes created by Ianon. You can go get a sneak peek at the art. If you're not on the newsletter, highly recommend you do. We so rarely pitch it, and we really need to pitch it more. I don't even know where you go to get on the newsletter. Go to
canarycry.party.
Canarycry.party. Canarycry.party. Get on the newsletter.
It's the first link there. Join the mailing list.
That's right. Okay, join there. Thank you to Jade Bouncerson for being our timestamper.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm supposed to play the timestamp because you thanked her. So I was like, okay, yes.
It's hard work.
Thank you, Jade Bouncerson.
The listeners are now starting to worry about you, Guns. They used to think I was crazy for worrying, but now with the timestamper jingle thing, we're praying for you, buddy. Thank you to Jam for heading up the Telegram channel. Thank you to Adam42 for heading up the Discord channel. If you are a Telegram person or a Discord person or not, and you should be, go to canarycry.party. You'll see the invite links for both Telegram and Discord. Thank you to Joe for the feedback. Thank you to Clank for clanking. Thank you to Ike, Sir Ike, that is, for doing everything you do. And other than that, share the show, folks. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. It's 2026. You got to bring some sanity to these people. There's too much counter narrative going on. There's too much nonsense. Bring some sanity. Put on your meetups. Go to canarycrymeetups.com to get the meetups. But share the show. And we call it rattling cages. All you got to do is walk right up to them, grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! Don't ever silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
Human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Guns, any last words?
We'll see you guys later. Thank you for being here. Make sure to celebrate Smuggle a Chicken Day tomorrow. And it'll be the, 19th birthday of the iPhone on Friday.
Oh, wow. Happy birthday, iPhone.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, everybody. I will be trying my darndest to do Canary Cry Clubhouse tomorrow. So if you're on the text message alert system, you'll get a little link. Let's do some Clubhouse. We'll hang out. We'll decompress. We'll figure out what God's got going on for us today. Other than that, thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, hang outside the cave.
They love killing. They love killing. We're all gonna die.
This is the way.
He's a Satanist from one of the Satanist churches here where they sacrifice babies.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people zoo.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Bye!
You know what's going on. Canary Cry News Talk, man, what's going on? Gotta turn it on, shows coming on live. VPN on when I'm going online. Anonymity, man, cryptocurrency. We got everything you need. Get it 3 times a week. Jesus Christ the King, let the Holy Spirit speak. Battle in the cage, gotta set the captive free. Value for value, to me it's not free. Wish I had a longer streak, but this creativity, go fulfill the 3 T's. That's time, choose your talent. Give it right back, put it right back in balance. Not right or left, we not with the distractions. Catastrophes are the classic techniques, all attacks of the enemy. Getting defeated, underneath the feet of Jesus. Just believe us, media is trying to deceive you. Gotta read between the lines till you see through the disguise. It's a slit reptilian eye sitting on top of the pyramid. Got a myriad of topics, might be on a watch list. R.I.P. face like the sun, but you cannot stop this. Like the Lord's gonna come stop this beast system and this infinite wisdom. Yeah, when the time is right, yeah, we're gonna take flight like a thief in the night. So I gotta get it right. I gotta repent and sit patient. Waiting for supply drop. Google eyes don't blink, man. I need some eye drops. Google mind deep thinking for the AI thoughts. Yeah, Baz Gons. You know what's going on. Baz Gons. Never Crown News Talk, man, what's going on. Baz Gons. And you know what's going on. Baz Gons. Canary Crown News Talk, man, what's going on.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.